Don't worry. I've been able to see myself for a long time, and it's been a process. It's true. I don't know if I truly started seeing myself until I started the video descriptions, in which I started to delve into the darkest recesses of myself to analyze my psyche, where I was in terms of thinking and why, and to begin to build from that. And that was the beginning. And then that ended, and then came Nuzlocke Survivor, where well, actually, no, D&D happened somewhere in there as well. D&D is an incredibly therapeutic experience, too. D&D is a healing game. You can continue to grow yourself through D&D. You can find out a lot about yourself through tabletop RPGs. And so I think I started that, and that was another step in the process. But Nuzlocke Survivor was really the point where I started to open up in a similar way to the video descriptions. But this time it was to people and not just to myself. And I was met with so much support for who I am and the way that I think and view the world that it emboldened me. And, well, learning to love yourself through the lens of other people is not the healthiest way to go about it. It's not sustainable in the end. It can be a good starting point. It can be a good stepping stone to be able to see what other people see in you and learn to see that for yourself. And that was the first step. Because that was the point where I realized, yes, people do really see me. And I said it at some point in there. I self-diagnosed imposter syndrome and rejection sensitivity dysphoria. So people praise me, they tell me I'm doing a good job, and I don't always believe it because they don't know the truth. They don't know the truth of who I am. And rejection sensitivity dysphoria, if they do not praise me or they feel negatively or neutrally, then I feel like I've done something wrong or I'm bad in that way. So it was a constant mess, a cocktail of so many emotions and different perspectives. And it took a while to really understand. So I would often run from people because I felt like the more that they saw me, the more they would see who I am, and the less they would want to see that. So I figured I should leave before they can see too much of me, before they can learn to hate me. Because I wasn't fond of myself at the time, so I figured of course they wouldn't like me either if they really got to know me. Which is a trap. It's a cyclical trap of pain and suffering that you can lock yourself to and shackle yourself to. But it's not always easy to break out of that. So during Nuzlocke Survivor, through my decades of self-reflection and contemplation and growth and reaching enlightenment, to some degree, that everything is meaningless until you choose meaning. That was the point where I was like, I'm taking this opportunity now, rather than running away out of fear, I'll run toward them and see where that leads me. Because sometimes you just have to take a chance. If you keep yourself locked in your own mind forever, you are trapped, and you can't necessarily see the world for what it is. It makes it difficult to reflect, because reflection does often stem from seeing the rest of the world and finding perspective in that, sharing perspectives from other people, thinking what other people can think. And it worked for me. Being trapped in my mind worked for me. It gave me a lot of years of pain, but that is what brought me to the point where I could understand my thought processes. I mentioned it before, I think. I did try to go to a therapist at one point, and I talked with them for one session, I think. And after that session, I never went back because I was listening to what they were saying, and I said to myself, this is all stuff I'm already doing for myself. I don't need to pay for this to happen because I'm already on this path, thanks to my own strength, my own search for understanding. So I left that. I didn't need that because I was already on that journey, and I didn't need to spend hundreds of dollars just to reach that point. So I kept trudging through the mud and the strife and the pain and thinking about everything. Just thinking nonstop. And it brought me pain. It brought me understanding. The video descriptions brought me understanding. Because even in those, even though I knew I was writing those for myself and not really for anybody else, I still thought about what other people would think if they read them. I thought about how they would perceive them and what they would read into them. And I was like, this isn't right. I can't leave it at this. Because that's not the end of it. These conclusions I'm making is not the end of it. These thoughts, this turmoil, this inner turmoil, is not all of it. There's so much more beyond that. And that's when I started switching it around and adding the drive to push for hope at the end, to push for that light at the end of the horizon, to continue to build up in that way. So no matter how dark and deep I fell down into that hole, I would always begin to climb myself back up. Even if I was doing it somewhat for the purposes of other people who weren't ever going to read it, I was still doing it for myself, and it was a healing, reflection process for me as well. So I did that, and then through the understanding I got from that, and through, frankly, just being sick and tired of being that way, of being trapped with myself, is why I pushed. And sharing those video descriptions with some of my friends was a step. Hearing their reactions, their understanding of it. It was a small subset, but it was something. So let's take it to the next step. Let's go join this online community challenge and do this. And let's write 140,000 words in a confessional channel over the course of 3 months. Let's write a short story that takes 18 hours to read. Let's give all of myself wholly, completely, unequivocally to these people who don't even know me. And there were some people who did know me. There were some people there who had known me for years and had known who I was. And they acted as a buffer, I think, to some of the other people, because they're like, what's up with this Quvar dude? What's his deal? Like, this is who Quvar is. He's a beautiful man. I still have the Sometimes People Like You album on my phone of all the screenshots of everybody in that viewer chat talking about me and seeing me and hearing me and understanding and searching for understanding and supporting. And that was gratifying, and it was an enlightening experience. And then I started watching clips of VTubers on the internet. And I was like, hey, sometimes people like me, yeah? I don't play enough video games. I'm too busy for that. What if I give this a shot, right? So I dove in without much preparation. I had a bunch of streaming equipment already for my recordings. And I got a model in the works. I got a PNG made, and I was like, I'm doing this. I'm just gonna go. I started on my Twitter and just tweeting things while I was preparing to stream, and I think I've talked about it. What was it, 3,000 tweets, 2,000 to 3,000 tweets in the first month, and then it started to fall from there, 1,000, 900, etc. But I was just being and sharing myself, and I had a small subset of people who were actually looking at me, so it was an introduction. And then I was like, I need to stream at some point. I've been holding off on this for no real reason. So I'm just gonna hit go. I'm just gonna go in there, very little prep, and just start streaming. And there was a lot going on in my life at the time. There's a lot of changes to my life that also attributed to my growth and change there, and it drew me to push myself in ways I probably shouldn't have, but also helped me to become the man I am today as well. Everything's a step on the path. Everything's a step on the journey. Every step forward and a step backwards is part of the process, and it's all okay to have. It's part of growth. Pain isn't necessary, not truly, but it is a naturalistic part of so much of existence. And healing from that pain, growing from that pain, and finding yourself. That's what it is learning to love yourself and finding your own value and recognizing that. So I just went. And I did it sparingly during that summer because I was busy, I was doing things, but then fall came and more people started watching me, and I was doing more, and I was just giving of myself freely. That's the first stream of consciousness where I was like, I don't need to even play video games. I can just do whatever. And people were there to watch. They were there to enjoy that. And so while I had all these reflections, I still was learning to love myself through the lens of other people. And that's a journey that may never truly be over. No matter how much progress I make, there will always be, the scars remain. but I have the tools and the resources and the support to continue to build from here. So if the scars ever resurface, I am prepared to handle that. And I would hope that it's a silly hope that the impact I want to leave on the world is to not be forgotten, but not necessarily for myself, but for the things that I do and say, for the emotions and strength that I can provide to people. To have an impact on a single person is more than I ever could have asked for. And I know through the words people have shared with me that I've impacted far more than one person. It's a very clear reminder that I matter every day, even when it's hard to remember that I make a difference. So I am constantly the best me I can be. Because even if I change, I'm still making that progress. And I'll never reach the horizon, not truly. That's not actually the goal. The horizon is there as an idea. It's very clearly a metaphor, of course, but it's the light is always there to look for. If you allow yourself the freedom to look. And that's the important part, is you need to give yourself that kindness to look for that light. And it's difficult for so many people, and there's so many people that struggle. And I can only do so much to help, because, again, as we discussed here, it's not up to me. It's up to them. But I wish so badly that people didn't have to struggle. I know the struggle is important. The struggle is real. The struggle helps to heal, to grow. It doesn't mean it doesn't hurt still. So here I am, Quvar, on a Quvariety show, playing video games, singing songs, making dumb, stupid jokes over and over, and changing lives. And the first life I changed was mine. Because love is a powerful thing. But self-love is the first thing. And through finding that strength, I've been able to share with all these people. And the title of this stream is apropos, because this really is just the beginning. Welcome to the Quvariety Show.